Hi, everyone. This is T the Man and Sandra Tucker from Lee Street Beat. Today, we're going to talk about the terrible, deplorable, inhumane, unthinkable treatment of these immigrant children. If you have a child or if you love someone, I find it hard for you to be an enabler of this kind of behavior from our government and this president of the United States. I'm lost for words. I don't have the vocabulary to talk about what has been done to these children. Now, we all heard the news reports and they're showing these nice beds that the kids are supposed to be running and playing. But you know what? That's propaganda. That's propaganda. That could have been filmed at a daycare center. We don't know if it was there or not. No one's got a chance. The people, when they go in there, they tell them smile at the kids so they don't feel like they're caging their animals. They are caged animals. They've been taken away from their parents. They're talking about they can call their parent. Like, which one of them parents has a cell phone that they can call? They don't even know where their parent is. And the parent don't know where they are. I'm going to just let Sandra talk about this because I know she feels the same way I do. And we need to do something about this. We can't allow this. I don't want to say the word I want to say because it's profane, but we can't let this fuck behavior keep it going. We need to do something to stop this. Not only do I feel this way, Sandra feels this way, S. Hacker feels this way, we all feel this way about this kind of bullshit. I shouldn't even say bullshit because it's not bullshit. This is just this is the same thing that was done to us in slavery. Our foreparents, they snatched the babies from the mother while they were breastfeeding them and put them into slavery. They did the same thing to the Jews in the 1940s when they marched them to the gas chamber. These people have no conscience. And for you to enable them to look the other way and say it's just tragic, it doesn't give weight to the tragedy that they're doing. With that, I'm going to just digress to Sandra. Sandra, you talk about this.
Yeah, this is a sad subject. The Trump administration has invoked the Bible into their policy making. And I just find it very, very insulting for somebody like Sarah Huckabee and Jeffrey Bogart Sessions to invoke the Bible. But, I got a little something for them. Whatsoever you do to the least of my brother, that you do unto me. Matthew 25:40. The manner in which we treat immigrants under the Trump administration has been shocking, extreme, and drastic for no reason other than to break the base and crush the hopes of these families legally seeking asylum here in America. America was their hope for a safe haven, and the Trump administration, led by Jeff Sessions, is treating them like they're offenders, separating parents from children. They should be stopped. We here at Lee Street Beat are I'm crying out. We need to call our senators. We got a holiday this weekend, Father's Day. All three of us here grew up with our fathers. We know how important it is because we grew up with two-parent families. There are reports of women who are breastfeeding, having their children snatched from them in that process. This is not America. And Donald Trump and the Trump administration and Ivanka Trump, who is supposed to be a champion for the children, need to really understand that this is a lasting effect for these families, these children, the degradation, the stain that it puts on America. There's just no words for it. You have grown men sleeping next to little boys. There are going to be atrocities. The only way that something's going to happen and change is because something's going to happen that's going to be tragic. And we will be back here at Lee Street Beat to address it. But I'm saying it ain't got to happen. And they know it doesn't have to happen. And it hurts, but it just shows you how horrible the Trump administration is. This man has grandchildren, but you know, their parents made $82 million last year, so he ain't worried about something happening to his kids. But I'm just saying, he's the president of the United States. And what's going on there at the border, man, it hurts so bad. As Hacker, I know you got some words for this, man. I'm so upset. Tina, man, I know, I feel you. I'm just upset. Yes.
It's just a sad situation. But again, it goes back to the problems at our core. Well, you know, this illegal immigration and all these people coming up from Mexico would have been an issue if the people who own these huge farms, on these big chicken or meat processing plants, did not want cheap labor, right? These people aren't coming up here, you know, in the hopes of getting a job. They already know that they have something lined up from a cousin or a friend or somebody near the family. And again, most of these people who own these big corporations who are using, Donald Trump himself has used illegal immigrants in his projects. And still to this day, he's using people who are, not necessarily dreamers, but people who have the, to get a temporary green card to work in this country. Yeah, his businesses have those people working for them. So again, it's on one hand, you know, when you're in a social situation, you're talking about these people taking jobs and things of that nature. But when you're in your private business setting, you are comfortable with the fact that these people who are here illegally, and you know that they're here illegally, are good for your bottom line. And that's all that matters to these people. It's the bottom line. They could care less about the human atrocity. They could not. And you know, you're talking about slave labor. I think in sort of South Carolina or North Carolina, it was this guy who owned a barbecue restaurant. He had this worker actually enslaved. This is like not 28, 16. This is now. And he finally pleaded guilty to enslaving this man. And the man in chains was burning him. All these people care about is their bottom line. All Sarah Huckabee Sanders cares about is getting a check and not poking a bear so that he would fire her tomorrow. All they care is about that green. They could care less about the inhumanity, any of that stuff. They simply don't care. Give me my check and let's keep it going. That's it. That's it. That's all I have to say on that.
One thing about this whole Jeff Sessions quoting the Bible. You notice they always want to quote from the Old Testament. They don't want to talk about the New Testament about forgiveness and compassion because that doesn't fit into their narrative. So they're always going to quote from the Bible, you know. But that being said, I think we need to understand that when you're dealing with forces of evil, they don't play by the rules. They don't stay inside the lines. They don't do what's right. They do whatever it is that they can get to. They mask their evil and sometimes what you think is a good cause. You might say, I'm all against abortion because it kills the baby. Of course, Lucifer and his soldiers think that's a good idea. Why? Because the devil needs souls to provide, to survive. That's what he needs. He needs souls to sin. So that's a win for him. So when we see these people and these evangelicals going around talking about that they're Christians, they're not. These are soldiers for Lucifer. And to think that, and we pray and say, maybe the Lord will send us an angel. We don't want the Lord to send us an angel. Because when the Lord kicked Lucifer out of the heaven, he didn't send angels, he sent archangels. And that's what we need. We need an archangel. We need an angel to come in here and do the bid of the Lord and get this evil, this purge amongst us. He needs to go and all his minions too.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. And again, you know, for them to say that you're Miss Super Christian or a basic Christian, how can you support a man who's admitted that he is a serial sexual assaulter? I mean, how can you say that? What are they gonna do? You know, if I grab them by the, you know, what can they do? I'm this powerful man, you know. And for them to, again, he said it himself when he was running for president. I could go outside and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and these people will still support me. They are still supporting him no matter what he does.
Because they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites, they're liars. This is what they
Exactly.
do. They, you know, it's the same thing. How do you, in good conscience, go there and support Roy Moore, an accused pedophile, a credibly accused pedophile? And then they fall back, well, there's no evidence. When they provided evidence, then they said, well, there's no proof. So now they want to play schematics with words.
Exactly.
Everybody knows, Roy Moore knows that he's an accused pedophile. He know he done this, and he know it was a crime when he did it. It wasn't like he was 19 years old and he was, you know, doing these to these girls and they were 17. He was a grown man, 33 years old, grown ass man.
He was banned from the mall.
Right.
What? Who gets banned from the mall, man? First of all, who goes to the mall anymore? But secondly, you get banned from the mall and you're a prosecutor. That's a sad thing. Again, it irritates me that you, my tax dollars, T-Man tax dollars are going to paying for the support of Donald Trump and me in the state of Alabama. Well, again, all of us, since he's Attorney General, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions, we are paying his salary for him to do the things that he's doing. It comes from tax dollars. That should infuriate us all.
Well, it infuriates me. And the thing about it is, it seems like people who want to do good and want to make this change, they can't do it. And an example is that you have a sitting U.S. senator who wants to go there to this detention center. I'm just calling this internment for these kids. And,
exactly.
And then he's turned away from the door by a, what is it, an ICE agent. You know, he wasn't even a sergeant. He had to call a sergeant. So we got the private ICE agent turning around the U.S. senator and telling him that he can't go in there. You know what? I'm just going to say, as a U.S. senator, he should be able to walk through any federal facility that he needs, and especially if he's on the committee for that. There should be no reason that man even said the only person to be able to tell him that he can't turn away is the director of Homeland Security. And you know what?
I could believe they turned him away because he was white. I mean, I'm like, really, y'all turned the white man away, you know?
And they turned him away because he wasn't going with what they, you know, the BS that they were putting down.
And they have this propaganda video
seeking the truth,
showing the beds. Those 5 beds or 4 beds all made up. Now, we all been around kids. Kids don't make up their beds and tuck their sheets up under there. Nobody slept in that bed. We don't even know if that was taken there. So if anybody was sleeping in the bed, it was probably the adults in there sleeping in those beds, and they just said, "Oh, these are the kids," you know.
Exactly. And what's even more egregious,
you would have let the media in. So obviously, you have something to hide.
Now they want to set up tent cities,
right?
And they're shopping for army bases. These were supposed to be temporary places for these immigrants to be at. And now they're overflown. There are too many people living there, and a lot of times the government doesn't know where the kids are. They have a phone number for the parents to call that really just basically tells them that, you know what, any information that you give us on this line, we're going to hold and use against you. They welcome our immigrants by giving them paperwork, telling them that they have disobeyed the law, and now they're going to have to go to court, and they're really seeking asylum. They've changed the rules on how they look at domestic violence now. Is not a reason for
Sandra, evil doesn't play by rules. That's why they did it.
It's horrible.
They make it up as they go.
All right, y'all.
Anything to
I just got one
achieve
more
the
thing to
goal
say
that
about
I
Okay.
have in mind.
and I think maybe nobody's probably really thought about this. These kids just came with the clothes on their back. What new clothes do they have? Do they have a change of underwear? Really?
No.
Is somebody washing their clothes? When they wash their clothes, what do they do? Stand naked? Who's volunteering
No.
giving these kids clothes, shoes, whatever? It's not happening. And we know it's not happening because if it was, they would say they would do it. So
Exactly.
I don't know. Okay, this is we have to come back and address this, but
Yeah, unfortunately, this probably won't be the last time that Lee Street Beat addresses this, but you know, it's something that we really are upset about. But I'm gonna tell you something. Let's talk about this Trump charity. Let's talk about this slush fund.
well, when you have a liar, a thief, and a cheat,
Yeah.
who's surprised? I'm not.
The veterans
I'm
should
not
be very
surprised
surprised
either.
when they didn't get the check.
Oh, they
not.
eventually got. Hey, they got a check. They got a portion of the check, but 2.some million was sliced off for him to do with whatever he wanted to do with it. Because again, it's Trump and the board. The board consists of his children.
Yep.
That's
Y'all
it.
divvied up the money. I mean, that's
And
what he does.
they time when they send the money with the election. So it was, you're not supposed to do that. That's illegal, it seems.
Well, Trump don't
Yeah,
believe in law.
but he's been doing. He's been using this foundation or charity. For
Tax-free money.
years. Exactly. I could go out and say that, hey, I'm doing good. Friends, associates who want to give you money, it's in your way to slide it to you without anybody questioning it. If you're doing something illegal with him and you've got to pay him, what better way than donate to a charity?
Well, I'll tell you something.
But he's been using this for years.
Well, when the judge saw how the Trump administration and the Trump Foundation used the foundation money, she has really slapped some horrible stuff on him. She wants him to pay like twice the money back, and wants him to not be allowed to be on a board, and his kids to not be on a board for a year. You know what?
Oh, his is forever.
His is forever.
His kids are for 1
year.
year. Yeah.
It's just no amount of time.
Well, they should put them kids on there for 10 years too.
Oh, okay.
Forever.
Forever. All of them. Every one of them.
Forever.
Yeah. And go and put Barron in there too, because you don't want him to just start out, because they'll hook him up.
Let us leave him out of this for now. Let's wait again. We don't want to go to pre-crime.
We ain't gonna let him get started.
Well, let's not do pre-crime.
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
Between Trump and his charity, Michael Cohen, they wonder if he's gonna flip. Every time Mueller gives him he gets some bad news. Today he was talking about how he blamed Obama for invading Crimea. I mean, really?
Delusional.
This is what happens when you listen to propaganda of Fox News. Because they're the only person who will listen and believe that is something credible. Because the other ones, when they fact check it, they say that's a lie.
And the reality of it is that it's been widely reported that Hannity and President Trump speak every night before they go to bed. So they together are defining the narrative of what's going to be talked about on Fox the next day. And I mean, on every show except for maybe, Shepard and
I just want to
Shepard. Yeah, he's the only one.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the thing is that we really need to call in the legitimacy of this president, because obviously it's shown that he couldn't have won without the Russians' help.
Absolutely.
So therefore, I'm not going to call him the legitimate president of the United States. We got a, I don't know, doppelganger in there or something. But whatever it is, he don't need to be there. He's the worst ever. He's number one of that. He's the worst ever.
Worst.
That's going back some ways.
I hope that Michael Cohen flips on him.
He is. He will, because he's broke.
I mean, but you know, you
if
do
you have
understand
nothing
when
else,
you're spending anywhere from $300 to $500,000 a week for people to go through paperwork that's only like less than 1% that has client privilege attached to it. That can't go on too long. You know, you can't do that like week after week after week. And he's not even at the beginning of what's going on with him in terms of him needing a lawyer.
No. Oh gosh. Again, he's gonna need a public defender before it's all done. That's how low his bank account is going to go. You know, because that's the if you're in, that's what people have left the White House for fear of having to maybe be called into the Mueller investigation and knowing that you're going to have to get outside attorneys on your own dime. I help you out, especially if you may privy to some information that Mueller needs, and you really don't go back and forth. You don't want to upset the president. You don't want to, it's a precarious position to be in. To have a job at the White House and be privy to some of the information about what really goes on.
And that's why today they're having a job fair. They're having a job fair at the White House because unlike what the president's reported, everybody wants to be here. Nobody wants to be there. They're having it is unprecedented that they are having a job fair today. Okay, but
hey,
again,
maybe Al Roker can go back there and reapply.
Yeah, I know.
So listen, y'all. I just want to kind of mention the fact that as Hacker, you lost your band leader. What was your band leader's name?
His name was Donald Mitchell Crawford. He was he took over after Mr. Gordon left, and his phrases that we used to say every day when they do calisthenics or anything like that. And the door to success, level push. All of us who were ever in the band still say that, when we see each other today.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just a marvelous man, students. And, scholarships, a lot of people got to go on and be the first in their family to go to college and graduate from college.
So what school was he your band leader
at? PD Jackson Owen High School.
All right, got to shout him out. And Tita Man, we recently lost a friend. Talk a little bit about Mr. Larry Scott.
Well, Larry lived around the corner from us. He lived on the next street over, just about directly between my house and your house, but the next block over. We've been knowing Larry since a while, I guess since we like 10, 11 years old. He was a great person, a great human being. He was a father, he was a grandfather, and you know what? Him, your brother, I think they really inspired me to go off to school, to go to college. And I remember Larry doing his, I think it was from his freshman year to his sophomore year, he had bought a car, and it was I think a Volvo, and we drove from Chicago all the way to Texas Southern. And I had thought about going to school there, but Texas was a little hot.
A little hot.
I couldn't get with that flying roaches. But he encouraged me to go to school. And like he says, if you live here and you stay in this town, nothing's good is going to come out of it. You need to get away, go around it. He was good. He was inspirational. And the week before he died, he was looking at the podcast and he was talking about this podcast, Lee Street Beat. And he was asking me questions. And we talked for almost 2 hours.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't talk all that frequent, but when we did talk, we talked a long time. And of course, anytime he came up here, we got together. When his father died, we got together. He would come and visit his mother. We would get together, over the holidays. He was asking me, am I in town? Because, I've done a lot of traveling out the country, out of state. So sometimes it's hard to figure out exactly where I was. But we got together, we talked, we kept in touch. And to hear that he passed away is heartbreaking for me. And I know it's heartbreaking for you. So Sandra, I'm gonna let you talk about your thing with him.
Yeah, my address was 2412 Lee Street, and his was 2412 Nathaniel. So we was right, one street over for real.
Yeah.
I only babysat one man, and it was his young brother. Larry was older than me. He's my brother's age, but he was a great, friend. I mean, I played basketball with Larry, but Larry was a fixture at my house. We would play ball with him. When we got older, he would, drive us around. Hey, he was a good friend. I visited him. I was going to school in Texas at Bishop College at the time. And he came and got me and took me to Houston. Like I said, man, he helped me so much when my father died, trying to, navigate, the landscape or, dealing with, family issues. He had a great family. Sorry, for their loss. And, he was just a great friend. And having said that, we shout and salute, both of them, leaving us here because, Father's Day is upon us. And all three of us, would like to, from Lee Street Beat, wish everybody a happy Father's Day, but we don't have our fathers.
Right.
So, tell them the value, S-Hacker, of having your father on Father's Day.
Again, my father and I, again, when I was a kid, of course, he was like, the authoritative figure, right? But again, in my adulthood, we were friends. My father and I could exchange, just hang out, just sit and talk about politics or just talk about life or just, just hang out and be silly. So I'm happy to have been fortunate to have, both my parents in my life, my entire.
Same with you, Tita, man. You had your dad.
Yeah, I did have my father. I had him till I was 21 years old. I'm glad that I had my father in my life. If I hadn't had my father in my life, I tell you right now, I would have been a criminal. Maybe a master criminal, but I've been a criminal. My father's education, he stressed it for me and my sister. There was a time I was in high school, and this is back in the late 60s, early 70s, and my locker mate dropped out of high school, got a job at U.S. Steel, had a new car. I was beside myself. I was going to quit school. I told him, I said, Daddy, I'm going to get a job at U.S. Steel. And Walter said, you can get one there too. And he told me, you ain't getting no job. You going to finish school. You going to finish high school. Right. And then after high school, you got a choice. You can either go to college or you can go to the Army. But it's going to be one or the other. Right. I chose school. And then, like I said, we had Larry, I had your brother, we had other people who were positive, who wanted to go on and do something with their life, then rather than hang out on Church and Dodge, because getting that degree on Church and Dodge hasn't done anything for you.
Absolutely. Well, listen, my dad, I just lost him like 3 years ago. And again, he was a great force in my life. I'm a daddy's girl, and he spoiled me to death, and I miss him every day. And so we just want to say from Lee Street Beat, love your father, love your mother, love your family, love God, love everybody. It's a special weekend. Happy Father's Day to you, Tita Man. You are a grandfather and a father, and you are a great, asset, and you're also a great role model to your family because, when we talk about education, all of us educated. So, you know what I'm saying? Wow. So it's a great thing. So happy Father's Day to everybody.
All right. Yeah. Everybody, Father's Day to everybody out there. And I just want to say one thing. Sandra, you look at, my family doesn't see me in the same way. I mean, Sandra, my family does. But the grandkids, you just pop it. And I need some money. That's what I am to them. I'm like an ATM. So
okay.
So all right. So happy Father's Day to everybody. This has been Lee Street Beat, another podcast. We'll be updating soon. We might have some specials. We're working on some things. As you noticed that I have some merchandise, Lee Street Beat hat, Lee Street Beat t-shirts. We also have tote bags and coffee mugs, notebooks, and pens. Those will be coming along, Kendra. And as Hacker, of course, your t-shirt is in the mail, and I got some other little item in there for you too. Y'all's business card. So anyway, to everybody, happy Father's Day. Have a wonderful week. Have a safe week. And get engaged. Do what you can do to help these kids in this situation.
Call your senators.
Write your senator. Write your mayor and have him write somebody. Do something what we can. Because, you know what? This is a strategy on their part. And the strategy is to divide and conquer. We're not going to let that happen. Just because our skin color might be a different hue doesn't mean we're not of the same family. We're of the same family of the goodness of this earth. And that's what we're going to stick by. So until later, this is us from Lee Street Beat, wishing everybody a great weekend and a happy Father's Day. Bye.
Peace out. Peace out.